Welcome. Let's start with our opening prayer and then off we go. O great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste. Okay, so our first question is from Lucia. She's saying, hi, Sky. I watched your previous live and realized I'm stuck in poverty consciousness since my bossy dad moved into my house 8 years ago. Please help me so I can take your class soon. Okay, so let me just tune in and we'll ask the angels what the best course of action is. So when I'm tuning into you, I've got the angels of abundance kind of coming in and they're showing me that the most important thing is responsibility. So when we've never done something and when our parents failed in their responsibility to teach us financial literacy, right? That is really terrifying. And it is no different than if they'd never taught you to read or write, or if they never taught you to how to behave in public, right? It is a big failing, even if they don't know that it is on their part. And it's very vulnerable as an adult to go, okay, I'm financially illiterate. I can't read a bank statement or a profit and loss sheet. I get a panic attack just from thinking about how much is coming in, how much is going out, because I know I'm spending more than I'm making and I don't think that I can make enough, right? Now, this is a lie. You can 100% make enough. But the fear is that, and the humiliation comes from, I will never make enough. Why do we get humiliated from that? Because this is what has been used to control us since childhood. You have to stay with your parents because you have no financial literacy or independence. You have to take the abuse from your parents or from your boss or from your school because you have no financial independence. No financial independence, no autonomy. And it's a bitch, right? So the reason you connect humiliation to poverty is because people have been using your financial dependence to humiliate you since you were a little kid. Now, what the angels want to do is start healing that humiliation because it's not your fault. You should have been taught financial literacy and been taught financial independence. It's just not in the best interests of the government and of other people to do that. They want you to be a nice little worker bee. When you learn financial independence, opportunities start coming from everywhere. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Nowadays, you can make money from literally reviewing Netflix films. You can make money from trying on clothes. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. The easy ways that there are to make money. But when you're little and you get told you can't make money, therefore you have to take my screaming or you have to take my belittling or you have to do what I say because you don't pay the bills. This is my house and while you're under my roof, right? I can feel everybody getting triggered, but this is the deal. You then go into, I cannot make money. They're right. I cannot make money. And that's why I have to do what they say, because they are superior to me because they can make money. Now, this is where you have to go back and talk to that little child and go, that's not true. You were always capable of making money. You were just never taught. Just as capable as you were of learning the alphabet, just as capable as you were of learning how to run and walk and climb. You were very capable of learning how to make money, and you have gifts, $1 million gifts within you, whether that is your music or whether that is your spirituality or whether that is your gift with technology or whatever it is that is your gift. It is valuable, financially valuable, and it gets to be monetized. It gets to be used by you for your power. Right? And that's why, if you look historically speaking, the wealthy, they didn't send their kids to school until they were 17, 18, 19. They went to university, but they had tutors and they shadowed their parents because they learned how to manage their businesses. They learned financial literacy. They learned how to balance accounts. They didn't learn the stuff that we learn, right? Which is how to be of service to others. They learned how to take care of the finances so that they could pay everybody. so that these estates and businesses could continue to run. So financial literacy is essential, but if you don't have it, that's why you're feeling the humiliation. That's why it's very triggering. And it's a very cultural thing, particularly for women, right? This is the last thing I'm going to message I'm going to give you before I move on to the next question. But it's a very triggering thing for women, because you said my bossy dad moved in. You financially outgrowing your father, you financially outgrowing your husband, when traditionally their role is the provider, is a big trigger, right? And it can make us, they're not stupid. They know it can make us lose all respect for them. They know that it can make them lose all control over us. And if they have no emotional literacy and spiritual literacy, they don't know how to connect with us in any other way than through money. So this is like the deeper digging. Is a man's worth to you just what he can provide financially, or do you actually know how to love someone for who they are? And do you actually know how to respect somebody for who they are? And are you ready to take that level of responsibility? And for me, it was one of the biggest fears. But then when it clears, your life becomes so much more peaceful. And you stop feeling so afraid all the time, because there's nowhere you can go that doesn't require financial interaction. So even some bathrooms require you to put 10 pence in before you can pee, right? So if you're afraid that you cannot create money and you're not valuable financially, right? That makes you create this high level anxiety all the time, because money's everywhere. It's a part of society's currency. So we're just going to take a minute. We're going to let the abundance angels come in and start clearing up the shame and humiliation that we felt as little girls and little boys, that we couldn't make money. And often the shame and humiliation that we needed it, right? We couldn't ask for that toy. We couldn't ask for what we really wanted. We had to hide our true heart's desires so that mom and dad didn't feel humiliation, because they believed they couldn't make money, right? So it's a generational thing. So let's just let the angels pull it out, because it's not true. It's just a lie that's used to keep people ignorant. Ooh. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Okay, Nancy's saying, hi, Sky. I aggravated an old right knee injury in November. It's still not improving. What is it meant to be telling me? I'd love to clear it. I miss hiking. Okay, so left right knee injury is about fear of the men in your life aging, fear of losing them. So like fear of them getting sick, fear of losing them, fear of not having a strong masculine support. And it's a reflection of not having the support of your own divine masculine on the inside. So let's call on Archangel Raphael and do a healing on that. Okay. We're also going to do a healing on your masculine line. Fear of losing the male figures in your life. And addressing, I'm going to bring in Archangel Azrael here to address the underlying fear of death that's going on as well. Okay. I was just saying, hi, Sky. Yesterday you gave a reading to Leslie and it really triggered me. Oh, yeah. I love you. I'm so sorry. I feel I'm being called to make a paradigm shift from poverty to abundance, and it's very scary and confronting. Any guidance? It is scary. Shifting from poverty to abundance is a big leap in consciousness, and it requires a huge amount of courage. It requires a huge amount of courage. I would probably say it's one of the biggest reality shifters that there is, because abundance shifts lifestyle. The guidance, because I got the abundance angels coming in super strong for you, is number one, energetically clear everything: your wallet, your bank account, your work desk, your wardrobe, particularly for women, your wardrobe, right? Because your wardrobe as a woman changes a lot when you're coming from a place of abundance versus coming from a place of poverty. Your kitchen, your fridge as well, because very often what you bought at the supermarket was about how much you could earn and whether or not you could afford it. One of the things I used to find myself doing was like hoarding vitamins and hoarding supplements and not using things because I didn't want them to run out. Things like face cream or shampoo or whatever, because I couldn't afford to replace them. Right. And this constant fear of there's not going to be enough. So energetically clearing everywhere that this has become an issue in your life. So that's number one. Just going to get Archangel Raphael to come in and help us do that kind of a clearing. Keeping things, right, that are torn, broken, old, the wrong size. All of that comes from the belief that you won't be able to afford something better in the future, and that there isn't something better coming. So you're like holding on to things you could afford in the past, right? So it creates a huge energy of tension. So just going to release that pressure and release that tension. The next thing we need to do is upgrade the worth that you give your creations. So one of the things I did when I was stuck in poverty consciousness was I gave my creations no worth, right? My master classes were worth like £5, or I gave them away for free. My time was worth nothing and I gave it away for free. So people treat you the way you treat yourself. If you are giving your creations no worth, if you are giving your time no worth, if you are giving your master classes or your teaching programs or your Facebook group no worth, then you will have no worth. So that's the first thing, is to go, which areas of my life, what gifts am I giving no worth that actually have lots of worth, right? If they help people, they have worth. If you help people with relationships, if you help people with health, if you help people with business, if you help people with children, all of these things have financial worth. If you're an artist, or if you're a crafter, or if you're a writer, all of these things have financial worth. They have value, right? So if you are currently making them worthless, right, then you need to change that. And that might mean putting up a message in your Facebook group saying this is going to become a paid group, and that if people it's going to change next month, or it's going to change in 2 weeks, and this is the price that it's going to go up to. Or you can what's it called, take a look at some things you've created in the past, whether it's some books or some master classes or some slides, and go, okay, I can sell these, or okay, I can change this into a paid product, right? You don't necessarily have to create something new. You just have to change the worth you gave it, because you were wrong. And that's what Course in Miracles said, is if you don't be afraid, if you've chosen fear, choose again and choose love. So you're going to choose now to take the same thing that you saw as worthless before from a new perspective and bless it with worth. You're going to get God to breathe into it. You're going to get God to breathe abundance into it, because everything that you created with love to serve humanity has financial worth, right? And it was going to bless them. So it's the law of the universe that you receive in return. It's a natural exchange. Of course, you can have some freebie products, but it shouldn't be all of them. It shouldn't be, I would say you should never have more than 5 or 6 freebies, unless your business is, making more than 6 or 7 figures. You need to value yourself, and that's very important, especially at the beginning. In the beginning, you're very much terrified of not being able to pay your bills, right? So as you move and you start to get momentum, that's not such a big fear. But in the beginning, it's a huge difference to you. So you need to know your worth. The next thing you need to do is break down the places where you're like willfully blind. So this is what we've talked about: not looking at your bank account, having no idea how much you're required to live on, having no idea how much your dream life costs, right? And that's one of the things that my son shifted for me so much, because I had some idea of what it would cost to have the things that I wanted. But when it came to children, I never sat down and done the math that just one child on average takes about 20K a year to support, right? And that's not even like a high standards of support. That's just a normal level of food, clothing, toys, activities. So it really made me up level the way that I was thinking and the way that I was receiving, right? So it made me do two things. One is it made me be able to receive from passive streams of income. And the other is it made me really realize that I was still dreaming too small. And that's one of the interesting things about life, is that you tend to think you're dreaming too big, right? Dreaming of abundance is too big. Actually, you're dreaming too small. Your dream of being able to pay your rent from your spiritual gifts or from your art or from your music is way too small. And it's not going to get you out of bed in the morning. And it definitely ain't going to motivate you when you're sick and when you're tired and when you're hungry or when you've had an argument with the boyfriend. Your dream needs to be bigger than this. So make your dream bigger and take away any willful blindness. Anywhere where you're not looking, your mind can't solve a problem if it doesn't know what the problem is. So if you don't know how much you need to make, if you don't have that as a goal, right? Reach 10K months, reach 20K months, reach this amount so I can afford a house. If you don't know the process, then your unconscious mind can't create it or manifest it. So remove all willful blindness. Go and have a look at how much the things that you want cost. Go and have a look at how much your bills actually are. Because if you're on, let's say your bills are 800 to 1,500 to maybe 4,000, 5,000 a month, right? If you believe that your bills are like 800, but actually they're like 5,000, you have a problem and you're going to end up in debt. So you need to know how much you're manifesting. There might be a mismatch between how much you think you need and how much you actually need. And this is particularly relevant now with inflation. So you might energetically be backdated and think you need less because it used to cost less, right? It costs less for food, it costs less for petrol, it costs less. And suddenly things have gone up quite quickly, and energetically we haven't caught up with how much we need to have our basic needs met. And that's why so many people are still mismanifesting. Let's just take a moment to switch gears so that you're now manifesting to the new amounts that you need to meet your needs, so that your needs are always met. There we go. And then the final stage is taking action. So let's say that you are repurposing an old masterclass, or you're repurposing an old workbook, or you're repurposing a song, or you're repurposing some designs or some jumpers that you knitted, or some something, whatever it is that you created. You need to make some videos, like at least 3 or 4 short videos, and talk about this in an excited way, in a way that tells people why it's valuable, why it's going to serve, how it's going to help, why you create it in the first place, why you decide to repurpose it and send it out now, right? People like going on a journey with you. So when you tell people your story, that really helps them connect. The reason that you guys come and talk with me and connect with me and ask me questions and trust me is because you know my story. You've been a part of my life, right? I rock up on here almost daily, unless my son is sick or there's a family thing or a business thing. I am consistently here. And you guys know if I'm not, it's because something's going on, right? You have enough grace to not pressure me to find out and to respect my privacy. But you know, if I'm not here, it's because there's something going on. And this is like that level of connection requires communication. And when we're doing these readings, you saw me say to you, hey, this is what came up when I was working through my poverty blocks. This is what happened when I had my son. This is the issues I dealt with when I got sick. So trust is built little by little. It's not built overnight. And you guys have had little insights into my life that became bigger ones as we get to know each other better, right? So that's the same principle with your people. It's not enough just to create something new, and then you can't just repurpose something or create something new and go, here, buy it, because that is rude. Okay, it is rude. It is offensive. It is just using people, right? Especially if you haven't talked to your audience or talked to your email list for months. So the first thing you do is you create connection, right? If you haven't talked to people in months, then you create connection. Hi, how are you? Right? I decided to come back and reconnect because right? Because the way that I was living wasn't working before, because I want to make the shift from poverty to abundance, because I realized that these things that I had created were just wasting away and they could actually really help people. And I decided that I was going to show up. So this is what I've been working on. This is how I've been working on it. Where are you dealing with this in your own life? Create connection. You would never ever think of online like a social situation, because people do weird things online they would never ever do in real life, right? You would never ever walk into a random restaurant and hand somebody your book and say, buy this. But people just walk into your DMs and are like, buy this. And it's like, no, no. Not unless you really know the person well and you know they're interested inside your product. So connection first, right? How are you? Take an interest in other people. Talk about your story. Take time. And then in a week's time, that's when you say, I'm selling this product. And then you talk about it for the next 4 weeks. And you put the link in your posts and you tell them about how it can serve them and how it can help them and how it helped you. And it starts to move and your income starts to grow. And then you've done it for one thing and then you repurpose something else, or you create something else and you lather, rinse, repeat, right? And then you start positioning yourself as somebody who is of service, as somebody who helps, as somebody who serves, as somebody who's serious about their divine life purpose. And the trust starts to grow and the momentum starts to grow and the opportunities start to come. It's very hard, I would say, the first 3 weeks where you're normally getting crickets. But then after that, after those first 3 weeks, when momentum starts to build, oh my God, it's beautiful. And so many of you are such good healers that you've already got such a strong community in the background of clients. And when you actually come out and start doing video and start communicating, they love it. And they're ready. It's like a match igniting the hay, right? And you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize there was so much love here for me. And there is. It's just that you were doing the work in secret or in silence, and it's already there. The energy field is ready to be ignited. Some of you haven't, and then you have to create that energy field that's ready to be ignited. But creating it is easy for you because you're coming from a place of love and connection and really wanting to serve. The trick is putting the ego in the corner, going, the next 3 weeks, I am actually giving myself a chance. I'm actually focusing on solutions and not problems. The last bit of advice I would say is don't tell anybody else. Don't tell your boyfriend. Don't tell your mother. Don't tell your sister. Don't tell your best friend. Just do it. Don't give people a chance to steal your dreams. Don't give people a chance to make fun of you. Not when you're raw and vulnerable and it's the first time you're doing it, right? Give yourself a chance to prove things to yourself. Okay. I remember in the middle of COVID when I was launching Medical Intuitive for the first time, and everybody around me was going, oh, the market is dead and the economy is crushed and nobody's making any money and things are going to be terrible. And I kept my mouth locked and I did exactly what God told me to do. And that's when I had my first multi-6-figure month, right? So do not let other people's fears take down your dreams. You are not them. You are not them, right? It's really, really, it's really, really important that you focus on your divine guidance when it comes to abundance. Because if you're in a place of poverty now, chances are you're surrounded by all these broke people that are also in a place of poverty. And they're going to get intimidated by you shifting your abundance. And they may even try and take it to pay the bills or to do whatever else because they may feel entitled to your money if they don't have any. So lock it, remove anybody you need to remove from social media, and focus on following your divine guidance to create more abundance. Tell people when you're strong, not when you're weak. Tell people when you're ready. And you're still weak when the first round of income comes in. It's when you've done it 6, 7, 8 times and you know I can do this and I can provide for myself, that you can take a little bit of teasing and you can take a little bit of dream stealers and it doesn't knock you down or take you out. You're like, okay, that's your opinion, right? And your opinion is keeping you locked in poverty. Congratulations, it's not the path I'm choosing, right? You also... Another thing that can happen for people when you make a shift into poverty is to realize that, when you make a shift from poverty is to realize that not everyone is starting from the same place. So for example, somebody starting to shift from poverty to abundance may have, a newborn and may not be getting any sleep, or they may have a chronic illness, or they may be dealing with neurodivergence, or they may, be dealing with different kinds of emotional traumas or abuse. So be aware that not everybody's starting from the same place and that not everybody has the same amount of time to invest as you do, right? And that not everybody's going to make it a priority. and that they might get triggered by that. So it really is about keeping your cards close to your chest in the most loving way possible, and just taking divine action, taking divine action, taking divine action. Okay, Love Sunshine is saying, hi Sky, any messages from the angels I should know? Maybe a man in my energy field. Thank you very much. Yeah, there's definitely a man in your energy field, and I would strongly suggest you kick him out. We're going to bring in the romance angels to help you. So you do not want men in your energy field, even if you're married to them. Men love women by missing them. So they can feel if you're thinking about them, even when you're not there, even from other halfway across the world. And they fall in love with us by missing us. They value us by missing us. So pull your energy back, kick him out. He's got no business being in your energy field if he's not calling, not texting, not connecting. And even if he is, he can come when you guys are together. He doesn't have to be in there all the time. You're not his wife yet, right? So got no business being in your energy field all the time. There we go. Oh, a lot of you kicked guys out there. Good. If a man energetically feels like he already has you, then he won't chase. He won't make an effort. The romance will die. So you have to let them chase, even energetically. So cut the cords, remove them. They'll miss you. They'll come back. There we go. Whew. Okay. Sarah saying, hi Sky, I've been diagnosed with an eye issue. Could you please scan and tell me what I can do to work on this? So my love, immediately they're showing me it's about, so eyes are typically choosing, like, you don't like what you see, but because it's around the gland, it's around not liking not liking the feelings that are coming up. So it's almost like you're being blindsided by feelings that you didn't expect to have about those situations. So I would get out a journal and I would get really honest about feelings that you're having that aren't for your highest and best, right? That aren't the right thing for you. And that are unexpected. Stop pretending that those feelings aren't there and face them head on. Okay, Sarah saying, hi Sky. That's that one. Amelia saying, hi Sky, I'm here. Could you please ask the angels to have a look at my circulation? It's been a year now and I have extremely cold hands and feet, even going white, no sensations. Thank you so much. So you want to look into taking some cayenne pepper. Obviously, I'm not allowed to give medical advice, so make sure that it works with your doctor and your medical plan, etc. But it's incredible for circulation. They're actually showing me this is a stress issue and a liver issue. They're also showing me that you're low in iodine. So that's gonna help you. Your thyroid is struggling, and it's a hypothyroid, so things are going lower. So you want to take your zinc, your iodine, and your selenium. You want to add cayenne pepper into your routine. So 3 times a day. You can buy cayenne pepper as a pill. You don't have to actually spice your mouth, but it will open all the arteries, open all the blood vessels. But you are holding so much unexpressed anger in your liver that you're constantly having to keep it tight so you don't feel those feelings. You really don't want to be angry. You really don't want to be angry, and you have these beliefs that anger really doesn't serve you, but then instead of feeling it, you are bypassing it or avoiding it. Okay, Mattis is saying, dear Sky, thanks to your guidance, I started getting theta healing sessions. It's magical. Whoop, whoop for Mattis. Whoop, whoop for Mattis. If you have any guidance, I'm open. Thank you very much. So let's see what the angels have to say, Mattis, for you. Okay, so they're saying that you're doing really well, but they're also saying stop messing your therapists around. Play it. Don't play it shallow. Play it deep. You have a real opportunity here. You're to create the life that you want. That you're much more powerful than you imagine. There's a part of you that still doesn't trust even the therapist. They're like, stop playing it shallow. Really play it deep, because you have an opportunity for a tremendous miracle here. Okay, Lena's saying, dear Sky, I asked for guidance with my health, nerve pains in my face and teeth. How can I heal it? What shall I do with my sound voice work that I love deeply? Thank you. Okay, so pain is guilt, right? And this is when I'm scanning you, Archangel Raphael is immediately taking me to your gut and to your to your spine, you feel that putting yourself first is selfish. And to succeed in manifesting your dreams, you're going to have to put yourself first. You're going to have to put your dreams first. You're going to have to be able to put everything else down, at least for those times in the day, like at least for every morning. You have to put everything else down and focus on your dreams. If you want them to start being your full-time thing, if you want to start getting paid to monetize your voice, if you want to start getting paid for your art, if you want to start, there is a growth, a building stage, a growth stage in the beginning. And then once you've established momentum in the growth phase, that's when you can take your foot off the pedal and the sales come anyway, and the clients come anyway. But there is a stage in the beginning where it is a momentum and growth building phase, and you can't bypass that. You can't bypass that. There's a stage where your audience is getting to know you and connecting with you and learning to trust you, and learning to love you. That is a really essential stage, right, of any relationship. If you think of it as the honeymoon stage in an intimate relationship, this is the honeymoon stage of your business. The relationship requires more effort at this stage, right, to create a very strong foundation that then lasts the test of time. It's no different than building a romantic relationship. So what you want to do is you want to like carve out that time, and you want to do the emotional work on the inner child, believing it has to be perfect to be loved, and believing that part of perfection is sacrificing your dreams for other people's dreams. It's a really deep belief here that women are selfish unless they completely sacrifice themselves for other people, and it's very much hammered in by society. Okay, Presetti is saying, Dear Sky, many blessings. Any guidance from the angels in order to start my business as a healer? I just saw like the card from the mermaids deck that's like ready, set, go. Like go. Like just start taking action. Show up on social media, on video every day. Write emails to your clients every day. Talk about your client sessions every day. Start being visible and start communicating. Stop waiting. I think there's a part of you, and it's quite strange. I think it comes from childhood, where you had to wait for the teacher to tell you that you could do something, and also that you'd done a good job or to be chosen, right? The teacher would choose you to be a prefect, or choose you to be the leader, or choose you to start the game. And then as adults, we're waiting for someone to choose us, like say, oh, you're really good at this, come to the Mind Body Spirit Festival. Oh, you're really good at this, you should come on my podcast. And it's actually the reverse. When you say, I'm really good at this and I love this, that's when the opportunities start flowing in and start coming in an appropriate way. Okay, Kira's saying, how are you, Sky? Can you help me? I have a new job and I have 2 staff. I feel like they are not supportive. Will be okay at my work situation. I do love my job. Thank you. So like the Archangel Michael's coming in super strong, and the message that I'm getting is be direct. Like, you are avoiding conflict, but you are their boss. So you need to stop avoiding conflict. You need to really say to them, you're not being supportive. I have noticed this, and this. It's passive aggressive bull, and it's not going to work. You obviously want to put that in work speak, right? In a nice email that says, look, since starting, I've noticed that your behavior has not been supportive. These are the small things that have shown me that you're not on board. This is your chance for a clean slate. Because we are where we are, and I love my job and I want to move forward in a positive way, and that requires your support. But you need to, I look at me, guys, okay? I am a feminine, soft, loving woman. I struggle with conflict as much as everybody else, right? But one of the biggest mistakes I made when I started my business was avoiding the tough conversations. You can't avoid the tough conversations. It leads to people thinking you're weak, and it leads to them trying things they would never try if they realize that you are protected and you are defended. And a big part of that is not being afraid of conflict. There's a reason Archangel Michael has a sword, right? Start as you mean to go on. If at the start they are showing you they're not going to support you, then give them 1 warning or 2 warnings, and then let them go or replace them. But do not keep unsupportive team members around. They will wait for the right opportunity and they'll cut you off. So it's just bad juju. Okay, it's just really bad juju. Hiring or having unsupportive people underneath me almost cost me not just my mental health, but my physical health and my business. It is not worth it. It is a dangerous place to be in, and you have to protect yourself. So you want to call on Archangel Michael, and you want to fully embody that boss energy that's like, I'm fair and I'm kind, but I'm no fool. And if you cross this line, there will be consequences. It's that simple, right? But the thing is, people are quite tricky in the sense that they will honestly lie to themselves enough that they will honestly believe that if you haven't said anything, that you haven't noticed. It's not true. It's just a lie the ego tells people. You've already noticed, even though you haven't said anything, right? But people will say that to themselves. Oh, my boss has no clue. She has a clue. Trust me, right? You're probably just dealing with somebody that's avoiding conflict. But if you're treating somebody badly or you don't like someone, they know about it. Okay? So from that energy, you have to be like, this is the situation. I'm going to use my connection with the angels to show up as a loving and powerful boss, but I am the boss in this situation. And this really, this has to be resolved. I can't have people underneath me who are not going to support me. And ignoring it won't help you. It will just get you stuck in a situation where it might make it difficult to move on. So let's say let's say that they don't support you and they start sabotaging you. It could potentially give you a bad reference for the next job. So if they are not supporting you, now is the time to go. They're not supporting me. It's not working. If it doesn't change, you need to ask for replacements. If your boss says no or the company says no, then you need to start applying for jobs before they sabotage anything, before they destroy anything, so they can't damage your career long term, which is what will happen if you do nothing. Okay? Obviously, it's still your decision. It's just the channeling. Kira saying, how are you, Sky? Can you please help me? Oh, that's a different one. Kira saying, how are you, Sky? Can you do a reading on my financial situation? What to do to attract new clients? Any guidance from the angels? Use your womanly charms. Okay. What I find is that people just think online is different, and it's not. So it's exactly the same as in real life. In real life, if you were to walk into a room, you would introduce yourself. You would tell people what you do for a living. You would tell them a bit about your family and about your kids. You would be a bit playful and a bit humorous, right? It is exactly the same thing. If you want new clients, then you have to talk to them. You have to talk to them. Okay, it's a simple thing, but that's what they're showing me. You're just not talking to them. You're just not showing up. And clients are people. People need relationship to have trust. No one's going to give you money or trust you with their biggest life problems unless they trust you. Why should they? Right? So you need to create a relationship where you say to them, hey, I'm here. I'm actually a really good healer. I can really support you with this. This is how I help myself. This is how I help other people, and talk about it every day. And I've never seen it not work. I've never, ever seen it not work. Okay. Crazy Team is saying, hi, I would really appreciate receiving any messages relevant to my health and relationships, and receiving healings from my thyroid in particular. Okay, so we're going to bring in Archangel Raphael. And clearly today, the issue has been communicating with your clients, communicating in your work environment, communicating with your partners about shifting abundance levels, right? So let's just do a deep healing on all levels, on all the places where we are not communicating about money. Not with ourselves, not with other people, not with anybody, either because we're afraid of losing money or because we're afraid of it getting stolen. Whatever fear we have around money that's blocking our communication or blocking us from acknowledging our own feelings, let's release it now. Okay. Sarah saying, thank you for yesterday. I started meditating on the grief in my heart, and the first thing that came out was the loss of my father, even though he's still alive, because I had to cut ties with him. Yeah. Grief is not just about death. Grief is about loss. You're 100% correct, and I'm so proud of you. And your angels are so proud of you for being brave enough to meditate, for being brave enough to go here, for being brave enough to release this. It's going to dramatically improve your life. Okay, Kate Hodge is saying, I'd love a chakra scan. Which is my strongest and which needs work? Your heart is your strongest, darling. Your base and your sacral need work. They're closed. Like, there's an energy of like, I don't care about money. I don't care about creativity. I don't care about me. I just care about everybody else. So this is open. These are open, but the throat, the sacral and the base are closed. There's the belief is like, I'm just not going to worry about all that stuff right now. It's like overwhelmed, too much to handle. That's closing the lower chakras. I love the Dorian Virtue chakra clearing meditation, guys. It's still the one I use. I've used it for over 11, 12, gosh, almost 17 years. Just visualizing that white light, taking away all your fears, and recalibrating that chakra to be in alignment with God. It's a really powerful chakra healing meditation. Lucy saying, so true, Sky. I never got petty cash till I was 13. If no one picked me up, I had no money to take the bus home from school. Embarrassing now. I'm responsible for my dad's need. He has no money. Yeah, it's role reversal, isn't it? But it's really complicated, because if you give people permission to monetize children, then there are people who will use the children for their money. But if you don't, if you disempower children financially, then there are people that will use and bully and dominate children because they have no money. So it's one of those catch-22 situations where you just have to allow a child to have control over their finances, but create less consequences, right? Less consequences for them making mistakes, or their because otherwise it's a crime not to teach people financial literacy. But I hear you. It's a role reversal. Just work on the humiliation and it will move. Okay, Shruti saying, hi, Sky. I've carried a lot of shame for not having beautiful hair. I want to release the shame and the angels to bless my hair. Thank you. This is not about the hair. This is a mother wound. So yes, you want to release the shame, but this is about your mother. So I see Mother Mary coming in really strong here. So we're just going to do a Mother Mary healing. Okay. Monique is saying, hi, Sky. I want to dive deeper into designer psychology. I'd like to pick one as my priority because it's easier to focus. Any clarity from my soul so I can align with myself to be on the right path, please. Psychology first, then art. Psychology first, then art is what the angels are showing me. Psychology is going to lead to a big emotional release that will make you an even better artist. You're going to combine the two. You're going to be like an art therapist, but psychology first, then art is what the angels are showing me. Obviously, it's still your decision. This is just an angel reading. Okay, Lucia is saying, thank you so much, Sky. I feel so much has lifted off my head. Hopefully my thyroid is healed too. Hope to see you in person someday. Invite you to teach in Bali. I'm open to invitations. If you have invitations for me to teach anywhere in the world, drop them into the inbox. My son is old enough now that will travel with me. So if you have an invitation, I'm open to it. I used to travel all over the place to teach. Okay, Journey to Divine Love. Hi, Sky. I would like to know, is engagement and more babies in my near future? Okay, so the answer I'm getting is yes. And this is about like you releasing fear that the abuse will happen again, or that if you get your hopes up, you're going to be disappointed. So let's just release the foreboding joy so that you can fully embody what you need to embody. Okay, Teresa's saying, may I please have an angel reading on my next steps in general, please, my love? Thank you so much. Okay, let me have a look. Okay, so the first thing they're showing me is like self-neglect. Like your confidence is low. So they're showing me like feminine things, going to get your hair done, getting your nails painted, freshening your look is going to make a big difference, because they're like neglecting yourself really strengthens that energy of worthlessness. So they're saying pour something into yourself that makes you feel like that little like sexy energy, that sensual energy coming through. We need some of that spiciness, that excitement, that fire, and that's missing. And then they're showing me that you're like, it's back to the guidance that we gave at the very beginning of you're not giving your gifts any worth. And until you give your gifts value and until you give your gifts worth, you're always going to feel worthless. Neglect is a pattern, right? Neglect is a wound. It's no different than you never addressing your anger issues or you never addressing your abundance issues. Neglect is a wound and it will permeate every area of your life. It is one of the biggest wounds of the invisible child. You'll neglect yourself, you'll neglect your partner, you'll neglect your kids. You cannot give what you don't have. Neglect is a wound. If you were invisible growing up, if you were ignored growing up, you need to heal the invisible child. Okay. Kate Hod is like, yes to all of this. Yeah, I know. I know, today's on fire day. Okay. Emin is saying, hi Sky, how are you? I've been suffering from chronic neck pain and feeling neutral mostly. Theta helped me and I learned basic and advanced recently, but I don't see things intuitively. Any advice? Thank you. This is the stage for you to be receiving. When I first did Theta healing, it took me almost 6 months of receiving Theta healing sessions and assisting in Theta healing classes before I was moving into doing my own sessions and going more deeply into it, because there is a season of receiving. You are wounded, you are hurt. Slow the F down and receive, right? Receive. Not what you're dealing with is the fixer shadow, where you grew up in an environment where your caregivers weren't comfortable with things not being right, with difficult situations, feelings, emotions, and things had to be fixed, right? You had to be fixed. And it's a huge part of the codependency issue, is that you can't be present with your own pain or other people's pain. You have to fix it. How can I make you feel better, right? But it's just a form of control, because it's not about them feeling better. It's about you not feeling okay when they're not okay. So it's that real energy of slow down, receive, right? There's real work for you to do here, and then it's going to take off. But there's a season for everything. Right now is your turn to receive, and then when you're finished receiving, the tide will turn, because this is a cycle. Giving and receiving is like breath. Okay, so trust the process. Aisha saying, thank you, Sky. So much guidance and wisdom I received. Gonna do the process and take action on everything you said. This is a new time for me. Tell me everything. Keep in touch in the DMs as you go through your journey. I'm helping you guys as much as I can. Okay. It is, I kid you not, that when I went from a place where I was paid like £20 to clean an entire house to a place where, I'm in really strong abundance, and I've been in the place where you're at, where I think all my work is worthless and where I think of myself as worthless. And it was a journey. The finances was what I avoided the most, and it was what I most needed to focus on at the time. It's different for everybody. Some people most avoid relationships. The people I work with tend to avoid their health to the extent that they'll die, but their finances are perfect, right? So it depends on your nature, but normally the area that you most avoid or you judge the most is the one where you are being called to create light. Yeah, okay, so guys, on YouTube, for those of you that are not on YouTube, there are loads of free body system healing meditations where I'm healing, scanning, removing. So you can go on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and enjoy all those free meditations that help you with healing your body system. There's 100 affirmations for health as well. Hi, Sky. Any messages from my angels? Mira. There's like a well done energy. I think you've had some sort of a validation or a recognition, or you've gone to speak somewhere. There's like a celebration going on. I can see like champagne corks and things popping. Um, there's an energy of working on lovability and of being able to receive compliments, of receive validation. It's almost like good things are happening, but you're not feeling good. So let's just give you permission to feel good, right? To feel good without having to have a reason. Okay, thank you so much today. You're on fire today. So are you. I'm so like, my blue energy is lighting me on fire. Kira saying, yes, I've been avoiding conflict. This is really helpful. Yes, yes, yes. We do. We avoid conflict and then it just gets worse. So even with abusive people, right? Abusive people make you feel like if you avoid conflict, things would have been better, but it's just not true. The more that you don't set boundaries, the more they push and the worse things get. So when you fight with somebody like this was absolutely pointless, you're like, it wasn't pointless. I expressed my needs, you expressed your needs. It might have been difficult, but it's not pointless. Conflict is not pointless. Conflict is a place where two worlds collide and you have to decide where the worlds are going to be separate and where they're going to be together. And that's a big decisions. Things have to be worked out. Okay, Gabrielle saying, hi, Sky. I've been feeling like I need to move, maybe sell or rent my house and either move within the city or to a new city or country. I struggle with this decision as it affects my daughter, who already feels unstable enough. Could you shed some light into this? Thank you in advance. I think you're right. You either need to redecorate or you need to move because the environment no longer reflects your vibration, right? So you either need to redecorate or you need to move. I think there's a part of you going, oh, I don't have the money to redecorate, and the moving will cost you just as much. They're also saying another option is to move somewhere with, like, you don't have to move far. I had a few people, and like when I was in high school, my parents literally moved 3 roads down. So you don't necessarily have to move far. You just have to move energies, if that makes sense. I hear you about your daughter. Stability is really important. But they're showing me that she is like, I'm not sure she's particularly happy where she is either. So this is a conversation. It's a conversation to say, hey, how are you feeling about the area that we live in? How are you feeling about our community? If you could live anywhere, where would you live, right? Open up, use open-ended questions to kind of open her up to find out how she really feels. Before you tell her what your intentions are, to help you make a decision without putting any pressure on her, right? But it's because you've outgrown the place that you're in, and it's very real. So, for example, when I moved house, I was in my mum's old office, and my mum is, her favorite colors are black and white. So the office was black and white. My favorite colors are pink and gold, right? Pink and gold, and what's the word? Labradorite, right? This like turquoisey labradorite color. So when I was in the office, but I like my, if you were to see my desk, there's a pink mat, there's rose quartz, there's citrine, there's angels, there's gold and pink everywhere because I had to shift the energy. The same thing with my son's room. My son's room is my old room, right? And it's what's the word? I turned it into a woodland forest. A room that was first decorated with like pink roses became like a Winnie the Pooh type forest. It's got no Winnie the Pooh in it. It's got like bears and raccoons and mountain tigers. But you need to change the energy of rooms. And it's, my husband took all the doors off the hinges because they were all on the wrong way, so the energy could move through the house differently. We put up feng shui crystals. So sometimes it's the environment really isn't reflecting who you are anymore or what's needed. I'm about to go into a shift with my son's nursery, right? Because it was for like ages 0 to 3, but he's outgrown that. He's more advanced faster than is, neurotypical. So I've got to create an environment that is, better for him to thrive, and create an environment that's better for me to thrive. But normally what you're dealing with is financial issues, because why you want to move or why you want to why you don't want to decorate is like there isn't enough money, or there won't be enough money, or it's a waste of money. So you want to look at childhood trauma where you weren't allowed to control your room or paint your room or change your environment to one that was supportive or reflected you. Just so you guys know, because it's coming up as I'm doing the reading, is that disorganization is a wound. Okay. Why is it a wound? Organization is a skill. So your parents expecting you to clean your room if they've never taught you how is a trauma, right? So you have to teach a toddler and a young child that they have to put their shoes in the basket and they have to make their bed and they have to get dressed and they have to have a morning routine and an evening routine. These things have to be taught. And if your parents are too busy drinking or too busy fighting or too busy trying to make ends meet, that they're not around, you don't get taught those things, and then you hide the fact that you don't know them, but you find it overwhelming every time you have to organize everything. You find yourself avoiding organizing things. It might also be the only way you connect with them. A lot of the times parents would come home from work, right, after you've been at school all day and they've been at school all day, and the way that they would show that they cared about you was going, your room hasn't been cleared up, this house is such a tip. So your connection with your parents came from them getting triggered by you being disorganized, and then disorganization becomes the only way you get to connect with your parents. That is what the crazy system engineered it, so that children spend all day at school and parents spend all day at work, and then they meet when they're exhausted and they have no energy and they don't understand why there's conflict and unhappiness. You're forced to spend all day separate from the people you love the most in the world, and the time you give them is the time that you're drained and exhausted, and you don't think that's going to cause problems. It's because you're crazy. But I think they know exactly what they're doing, right? So it's that energy of clearing the disorganization trauma and letting yourself learn to be organized. And that's been a huge healing for me over the last few years. And it's the first time in my life that my house is organized, my wardrobe is organized, my kitchen is organized, my supplements are organized, and that I'm willing to financially invest in things, systems to organize, systems to simplify, systems to smooth things. And the energy of the whole house is so different. But organization is a trauma. So some of you are just like, I'm disorganized. It's like, that's, yeah, you ain't disorganized. Nobody took the time, the care, and the trouble to teach you what to do and to help you develop the emotional skills required to be able to do it, right? So whenever you find yourself struggling or in conflict with your parents, it was normally because there was a developmental skill, a new one that you were trying to master but had not mastered yet, right? And it's no different when you're an adult. So when you find yourself in conflict with your self, it's because there's a developmental skill that you're trying to master and you might not have mastered yet. That might be financial literacy. That might be how to function in a relationship. That might be how to consciously parent. That might be how to be more organized, right? But it's important. It's very, very healing and very, very important. Okay, last one, guys. Connie's saying, can I please have guidance on my spiritual gifts and what actions must I do to use my gifts and to attain financial freedom? What is blocking my third eye? A fear of the truth. When your third eye opens, it's quite hard for me to go back here because it's kind of like the curse of knowledge. My third eye has been open since I was 17 and I'm now 34. So it's hard for me to remember what it was like in those 7 years where it was closed, like between where I was 9 and 17. I'm probably mathematically wrong, but whatever. Between the ages of 9 and 17, when my third eye was closed, you believe so many lies, exactly like you can never make any money, exactly like you are a victim, you are powerless. You really can't see the truth. And what happens when your third eye opens is there's a grieving process for the time that you've lost, for the lies that you were told, for the things that you put up with. And there's also a trust regulation process, because when you see people's emotions and feelings and thoughts and dreams and beliefs, you have a different whole way of assessing things and people and situations and making decisions. So you have to learn not to judge people by their darkest thoughts. You have to learn not to judge people by their feelings. You have to learn that a lot of people have a lot of feelings and a lot of thoughts, the majority of which they don't act on, right? There's a lot of things that come with opening up that third eye, but the biggest block is seeing the truth and how much it completely changes your reality, right? Okay, so let's do our closing prayer. I love you all so much. I've got a few things coming. I'm designing some incredible things. I'm going to talk to you guys about them next week. But we've got a few incredible, beautiful things, some courses, some products, some what's it called? Some really beautiful things coming your way. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys about them next week. I'm going to do our closing prayer. O great Spirit, Father, Sky, Mother, Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives, and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste.